Let's start with a powerful image. Picture India's streets in the 1700s, buzzing with artisans weaving silk, cotton, and wool, hammering brass, and carving precious stones. Indian handicrafts were admired across the globe. But by 1947, this proud tradition had collapsed. Why? Because British rule systematically destroyed India's indigenous industries. In this video, we dive into the industrial sector under colonial rule, how it was dismantled, reshaped, and left to stagnate. India was once a hub of world-famous handicrafts, especially in textiles, metal, and stonework. The best example? Dakai muslin, an ultra-fine cotton textile from Bengal, so delicate it was called Malmal Shahi, meaning fit for royalty. But under colonial rule, this proud legacy was crushed. How? British machine-made goods flooded Indian markets. Heavy duties were placed on Indian exports. No protection or investment was given to local artisans. Result: India's skilled craftsmen lost their livelihoods. This was the beginning of systematic de-industrialization. Let's get to the root. What was the British agenda? It had two main goals: turn India into a source of raw materials for British industries. Make India a market for British finished goods. This meant India wasn't allowed to build its own industries. Here's what they did. They encouraged the export of raw cotton, silk, jute, and indigo. Simultaneously, they imported British textiles into India. As a result, India became an importer of what it once produced and an exporter of what it once used. It was a complete reversal of roles. Yes, but only a few modern industries began emerging by the late 19th and early 20th century. Let's look at the major ones: cotton textile mills in Bombay and Ahmedabad, mostly owned by Indians. Jute mills in Bengal, dominated by the British. The landmark Tata Iron and Steel Company or TISCO, established in 1907 in Jamshedpur. Later, industries like sugar, cement, and paper emerged, but only after World War II. However, here's the key point: there was no capital goods industry. That means India had no factories to build machines or tools needed for further industrial growth. Let's break it down with a real-life analogy. Imagine a chef with excellent ingredients and talent, but no kitchen. Now, someone takes away the stove and knives and says, "Just cook with your hands." That's what happened to Indian industry. Let's consider GDP contribution. By 1947, the industrial sector contributed less than 10% to India's GDP. Also, British investment focused only on things like railways and ports, not on industrial growth. Even the limited public sector was restricted to railways, power, and postal services. India's industrial sector, though alive in pockets, remained weak, unbalanced, and underdeveloped. India's industrial sector under British rule was left crippled and hollow. Handicrafts were destroyed, modern industry was stunted, and public sector efforts were minimal. This explains why, post-1947, India needed a strong industrial policy focused on self-reliance, public sector expansion, and capital goods production. In our next video, we'll explore another major area hit by colonial policy, foreign trade, and understand how India's global position was manipulated for British benefit. See you in the next class.